I found out something my parents never wanted me to know. At 17, I seemed to have everything. Wealthy parents, a prestigious school, and a future paved with opportunity. But inside, I felt completely disconnected. One night after another quiet dinner where my mom talked non-stop about early admissions and my dad barely looked up from his screen, I left. I didn't have a plan. I just drove until the roads stopped looking familiar. I ended up near the edge of the city at a gas station that was still lit up, even though it was late. I stood outside drinking a Red Bull, letting the noise in my head settle a little. That's when I saw a black Camry pull up. It had an Uber sticker on the windshield. The guy who stepped out looked too polished to be driving at this hour. He had salt and pepper hair, a dark blazer, and this calm, practiced way of moving like he'd done 100 meetings before this stop. Then he said something to the guy at the next pump, and I froze. I knew that voice. It took a second to place him, but then I remembered. Mr. Price. He used to be my dad's business partner when they were building the company. I remembered seeing him in old photos around the house. He was always beside my dad, smiling like they'd already made it. I hadn't heard his name in years. One day, he was part of everything, but he wasn't. When I asked about him back then, my dad just said it didn't work out. Now here he was, driving for Uber, filling up late at night like he was just trying to make it to the next fare. I didn't say anything. I just got in my car and drove home. The next day, I told my best friend Dylan. He told me just to ask the guy. You know it's him, he said. What's the worst that happens? A couple days later, I started requesting Ubers from school. I waited until his name popped up. When it finally did, I got in and tried to act normal. You used to work with my dad, I said. Jeff Summers. He looked at me through the mirror. His face didn't change. Yeah, he said. I did. He didn't say anything else for a while, just kept driving. Then, a few blocks later, he added, your dad was one of the smartest people I ever worked with. I respected him a lot. That was it. But I started catching more rides with him. I didn't force anything. Some days we barely spoke. Others he'd tell stories. Eventually, I found out the truth. He had helped build the company from scratch. He had equity, had a title, had everything, but he got pushed out after a fight about the company's direction. Lawsuits drained him. Then his wife got sick. He quit working to take care of her full time. After she died, the bills kept coming. He told me all of that like he was reading it off a report. No self-pity, just facts. I never brought it up to my dad. I didn't know how to explain it, but I told Dylan. I said, he still wears the same watch from those old photos. It's like he never expected to end up like this. One day, after he dropped me off, I gave him a small gift card for a local restaurant. I told him it was for all the rides. He looked at it for a second before nodding. I found that old photo in my dad's office a few nights later. My dad and Mr. Price were standing next to each other in an empty room with wires hanging from the ceiling. Both were grinning like they knew what was coming. I printed the photo, slid it into an envelope, and stuck a note to it that said, still one of the sharpest minds I've met. I left it in the back seat the next time he picked me up. He never said a word about it, but a few weeks later, I noticed he wasn't wearing the blazer anymore, just a plain polo shirt and a quiet kind of ease that hadn't been there before.